here. No. This is a mess. None of these storylines make any sense.
I have been saying that for like 2 months. We're like twinsies, Jen. Hello and welcome to Reviews. As always, I'm Plume Noir. Here we are, the final episode of She-Hulk Attorney at Law, and there is so much to cover. So I'm just going to hit a few quick points first, and of course, massive spoilers for the episode if you haven't watched it yet. Throwback to Bill Bixby's 70s show opening segment. You know, I liked it, but they should have done that sooner in the series. Because of the last episode, Jen loses her job, goes to hero jail, loses her house, gets freed as long as she doesn't turn into She-Hulk. Wait, why? Because the witnesses saw an out-of-control Hulk. Fine, but she also has tons of witnesses who saw her sex tape and more get exposed, and why she would have gotten angry, and she literally chased a masked man out of the building. No one was hurt, and she only caused property damage, which she has done several times in the show. Titania busted into a courtroom and nearly killed the jurors, and she was released pretty easily without these issues.
Though I will continue to work here because they paid me nicely.
Man, Nikki sold Jen out pretty quickly, didn't she? Oh, this job pays better. Jen has to move back in with her parents. The millennials' nightmare. Or maybe it's just that of the show's writers.
Well, regardless of creative ownership, can we agree that it is a legal comedy?
If that's what you prefer to call it.
Burn! Yo, I'm with GLaDOS. I mean Kevin. The show hasn't been funny enough to be a comedy, nor legal enough, I guess you would say, to even get the lawyer parts of the show correct. Todd the Tech Bro is Hulk King, the main villain of the season. You know what? Overall, that doesn't even bother me. Neither does his motivation of thinking Jen is entitled and didn't earn her power. What does seem strange is that he set up some weird Reddit meetup at Emil's Lodge to celebrate, inspire them. Where did all these members come from? Were they all close by and not on the World Wide Web? And Todd hires Abomination to do a motivational speech? Why doesn't he hate Emil too? I know, because he's a guy, right? And why not just have Emil give his speech in human form? Seriously, don't think too hard about Todd the Tech Bro, because his motivations won't make much sense.
This isn't even a reluctant superhero story. I'm just getting screwed over. Is this what you guys want?
No, Jen, or should I say writers. That is exactly what this show has been. You literally started out the show saying you did not want to be a hero. You're not just getting screwed over. You are literally experiencing consequences for your actions and not having people sing your praises all the time. You know, hero's journey and all that. And like throughout the series, Jen just kind of comes off self-centered. It is such a far cry from her personality in the comics that it's almost painful to see. So Nikki just posts a video that Jen's mom gave her to the Intelligentsia's website, and she immediately gets invited, literally seconds later, to Hulk King's event at the lodge.
Oh, hey there, Hulk King. Okay, well, that was easy. Or, am I a genius?
No, Nikki, it's neither. That's just bad writing to get you and Pug to the event quickly for the plot. Wait, I thought there was no cell service at the lodge at all. That's what we saw in the earlier episode. How did Pug and Nikki even talk at all? So Hulk returns, Titania returns, and everything goes off the rails, and Hulk has a son.
But you must first transform back to Jennifer.
Why?
You are very expensive.
Oh, sure.
But wait until the camera is off you. The visual effects team has moved on to another project.
Okay.
There, do it now.
Honestly, this was pretty funny and probably the best fourth wall joke in the whole series. Self-aware, self-deprecating, and tongue-in-cheek. Why haven't we had humor like this throughout the series? I really could nitpick the heck out of any of those points based on what we've seen from the previous 8 episodes, but those are really small fries compared to the rest of the episode. You see, things really get nuts when this happens.
Alright, let's see here. No, no. Ah, Marvel assembled. That'll do.
Now, I have to admit, I laughed. This is very similar to John Byrne's runs where she would tear through the pages to fast travel from one point to another. Honestly, it's a good gag and the best way to convert that running joke from the comics media into the streaming service. Personal note, when I was watching this episode during my lunch break, the Disney Plus app went wonky and the video and audio became out of sync. So I closed the app and restarted the episode where it left off. That happened just minutes before the scene. So when it went black and back to the Disney Plus app screen, I thought it crashed. No fault of the episode, but I think the extra confusion caused by it may have made the joke land a little bit better with me. So Jen goes to the real world to talk to the show's writers because of how messed up the plot is. But she needs to go see the head honcho Kevin if she wants to straighten out the story. Yes, she Karen is on her way to see the manager. But it's not Kevin Feige. No, she needs to work with the robot Kevin to fix her problems. Kevin stands for Knowledge Enhanced Visual Interconnectivity Nexus. It's kind of a lame name if you ask me. It would have been funnier if it did not stand for anything. Like, its name is just Kevin. Nothing else, no acronyms, just Kevin. Kind of like how they called the Awesome Android by Andy in Dan Slott's She-Hulk run. But most of all, it had to be a robot. If you've noticed, I have not mentioned a lot of the misandrist undertones and overtones throughout the series because, honestly, I didn't care enough to point them out or focus on them. I felt that the overall poor writing on the show was the bigger issue, and I stand by that. But I do need to point out that they could not have had Kevin Feige or even Kevin in accounting in this role. You see, that would have been a guy fixing all of Jen's problems, and even I can admit that that would run counter to everything that this show has built itself upon, and would have just made Jen look even worse. Jen has Kevin selectively edit the scene that she had just left to resolve all the issues.
Well, yeah, that's what Hulks do. We smash things. Bruce smashes buildings, I smash fourth walls and bad endings. And sometimes Matt Murdock.
Okay, now get back to the show.
The problem is, that bad ending is what the writers wrote. They threw nearly every character into the scene and had to have a automatum ex machina fix the whole mess. Now, I know defenders of the show are going to say, that's what they did in the comics. They're staying true to the comics. No, it is not. They're using John Byrne's runs of She-Hulk, yes, both runs, for the medium awareness part. But if you go back and check, she does things like step between panels or tear through pages of fast travel. Or she'd complain to Byrne and editor Bobby Chase about what was going on. But they never resolved plot lines for her via appeals to authority. That is not what happened in the comics. That is just bad and lazy writing. My main complaint about this episode, and this may sound surprising, why could not have more episodes been like this? Sounds weird, right? I'm complaining about it, but I wanted more episodes to be like this. Yes, Jen has talked to the audience throughout the series and has even done a couple gags that relied on medium awareness, but it wasn't really built up enough to justify breaking out of the show to resolve the plot. Even in Byrne's run, Jen needed to be shown what she could do, that she could transition between panels. If there had been a little bit more of a build-up, like having her walk from one set to another for a scene transition, earlier in one of the episodes, this would not have seemed to have come out of nowhere. I cannot imagine how people who are unfamiliar with the comics, I can't imagine what they thought during the whole Kevin scene. My score for this episode? 5 o'clock. There really wasn't enough groundwork laid to justify how the episode was resolved. At least John Byrne made fun of himself and his scenes came off as genuine, self-deprecating humor. This series could have pulled off the whole Kevin bit had there been a gradual progression to it. Instead, it just seems like the writer tried to dig themselves out of a hole. I will say that I think this episode had more jokes that landed, for me at least, than any of the other episodes. But it is literally too little, too late. Well, thanks for watching. After watching this episode a couple times for this video, I'm thinking about maybe doing a full overview of the series and break it down, but that would involve rewatching all 9 episodes, and to be honest, I think I need a break, so I'll see you next time.
I would murder you to protect Kevin.
Okay, this is very creepy, the way you're talking about him. It's not healthy.
Jen, you literally said almost the exact same thing to Megan Thee Stallion.
I will kill for you, Megan Thee Stallion. Dial it back.
Oh, good job. Way to spoil Wong's guest appearance only a second later. It kind of reminds me of Metal Gear Solid 4. So Daredevil just fell out of the sky to save the day. And he's staying for a week to meet Jen's parents and family and everything. You know what would have been funny? If he was confused and said something like, "How did I even get here? I was in Hell's Kitchen a few minutes ago." And then Jen could wink at the camera. That would have been funny and leaned into the plot resolution.